Alright, this is the Tucson Bicycle Classic. This is the time trial. The thing of the day, as you can see in the top left, it's hot. 99 degrees was what my Garmin registered, just sitting in the sun there. Anyway, I'm going to play the whole time trial. My official time was 8:20. On Strava it was 8:11. But either way, I was really happy with how I did, and there's usually not much to talk about in a time trial, but this time trial is pretty tricky because it's only 3 miles, so the times are short, they're low, and little mistakes can really cost you. As you can see on this first part of the time trial, it's downhill, but it's kind of undulating, and there's big cracks in the road. Sometimes those cracks are raised a little bit, and so the surface is anything but smooth. So I got a lot of advice from some experienced riders, and also did some research on best bike split and came up with this plan between all of them. And basically, out of the start, hit it pretty hard, get my speed up, and then maintain the speed through the rolling and the flat parts. Only using matches, only burning matches to maintain speed up, small little inclines and whatnot. And otherwise, on the first half, just kind of cruise sub-threshold. So that's what I'm doing right here. Just when I feel like I'm losing some momentum or I'm about to crest a little ridge, I pick up my effort, get my speed up, and then just maintain as it flattens out, and just try to rest and recover, and save as much as I can for, well, when we take a right-hand turn here in just a minute or two, it goes uphill pretty hard. So I'm just staying aero. I've got a disc wheel. I got a 90 millimeter front wheel from Flow Cycling. Love that company. Love their product. And so I'm just trying to maintain my energy. Now, it was so hot. I'm not used to the heat, and I'm fat. So what I did was I actually filled both of my pockets, all 3 of my pockets. I've got 3 pockets on my skin suit. Filled all 3 full of ice, and then took a bottle of ice water and poured it all over myself right before I started. But by the time I was to the hills, which I'm about to get to, I was already hot, and everything was dry. So anyway, I know coming into the hill, I want to get some momentum going my way, and so picking up my effort, because here pretty quick we're going to start going uphill. Now, a lot of people, they say, hey, it's all about aerodynamics, which is true, but they say, anything under around 14 to 15 miles an hour, you should stay, anything above 14 or 15, you should stay in your aero position. However, this was such a short time trial that there was a couple times going up these hills that I spent out of the saddle. So here we are going uphill, and I'm just trying to keep as much speed as I can. And so right here I'm working pretty hard, and I'm actually I was aero. I don't remember at this point. I can't tell if I'm still aero or not. I believe I probably was still in the tuck just by the speed. So anyway, this part hurts, and right here, pushing over 500 watts is exactly why I spent a lot of time well under 300 watts on the flat parts, because you can spend 50 more watts to gain a mile or two an hour on a flat, but here going uphill, you could spend 20 watts to get the same mile or two an hour of effect. So more bang for the buck spending that energy on the hill right here. So anyway, here it starts to flatten out a little bit, and my focus was to work with my cadence and not grind it out. My cadence is actually pretty low, and so I wanted to work with cadence and spin up, and when I crested hills, to get my speed high, so that I could carry some into the little undulating downhills that followed the climbs. This is just a whole lot of suffering right here, though. I mean, it was really, really hot, and it was hard to breathe, and we had a really wet winter, and so there were a lot of allergens in the air. Now, the guy that started 30 seconds in front of me is a friend of mine, Gary, and Gary said that he saw the GoPro on the front of my bike, and he'd seen my videos, and he did not want to star in one. So he said the whole time he kept looking over his shoulder to see if I was coming, and I figured I would have caught him by now. He did a really strong time trial. I think he was 12th overall, and I do believe he was the highest placed on his team in the time trial. So good job to Gary. Don't feel bad that I caught you. I get caught by lots of people. You just got to ride your own race. Anyway, here we are. It's starting to flatten out a little bit, and I think I can see Gary up there. But here, now that it flattened out, it would be really easy just to let my speed drop, but not going to do it. Got to get my speed back up, and it really took some discipline. So anyway, that wasn't Gary. That was Steven coming back. He ended up getting the flat on the way back, but got to try to get my speed up. We're still kind of going uphill, but it's flattened off, and this takes a lot of mental toughness. Now, this little dip right here, I want to get my speed higher so that when I go into the dip I can gain a little bit more momentum for this last little punchy climb right here. And then as we come over the top of this climb, I want to spin over the top and gain some speed so that I can get some momentum going back downhill, because the next hill I hit, it gets real steep. I think it's around 11% or so. It's at that pitch is pretty short, but still, if you're in a time trial bike and you're already pretty cooked, hitting a hill like that can really take the wind out of your sails. I've heard many stories about how people have lost over a minute on this last part, which we're about to come to right here. And so here I'm just trying to get my speed up high, trying to avoid the obstacles in the road, trying to find the smoothest part. And here we are. There you can see it. I do believe that's probably Gary. So here we are, and in just a moment here, it just gets real steep, like right here. And so my speed just plummets, and I get out of the saddle. I drop it to the small chainring for the only time of the day, and I'm just going to stand and keep my speed up as much as I can the whole way. I'm really overweight, but I'm just pushing as hard as I can. And usually, if I pass somebody I know, I usually try to give them some words of encouragement. But all I could tell Gary was that I was on his right. I wasn't trying to be rude. I was just dying. So anyway, that little part right there is the hardest part of the race. However, there's still a little bit of time left to be had, and you can ruin the race right there. And here, I made my only error, I feel, of the race, and I tried to shift into the big chain ring too early, and it kind of made me lose some focus, and by the time I get everything figured back together, it wasn't a big deal, but it was a mistake, something I should have improved on. So here we are, coming up the last little rise. We got a little dip after this, and then a punchy little thing to go over. And then you can see right there, you can see where the finish line is. There's the booth for the judges. And by the time you finish, unlike most time trials, this is a true VO2 max effort. And if you're not retching or close to it, you didn't do it right. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope maybe you can learn a few things from what I tried on this video. And leave some comments if you like, and please subscribe. Thanks for watching.